Good morning, everyone. We are the presenters of Group 8 and the topic assigned to us is Chapter 6, Perspectives on Literary Interpretation. We have learned from the previous chapters of the Peter Verdonk Stylistics that the different perspectives of point of view in literary texts which it can be inferred from a close analysis of their linguistic features. Now, in this chapter, we will consider other ways of looking at literature and how stylistics can complement them. We will also focus our attention on literature in this chapter. So to begin with, Mr. De Vera will define what literary criticism is and how is this important in literature.
Good morning, everyone. This is Reymar at your service. And for today, I'm going to explain to you what is literary criticism. Before that, let me define first what is literary criticism. Literary criticism is the analysis of a literary text through various tenses that highlight authorial instance, purpose, and perspective. It is the evaluation, judgments of a certain context or a literary piece. Next one is why should we interpret literature as they are both compact to each other as you're going to criticize and judge a certain literature or a branch of a literature. So, this is the reason why we should interpret the literature. Although the interpretation of literature can be challenging, it may also provide unique and important rewards. And we come away with an even richer and more complex understanding as you are going to judge and to make it more precise to your understanding. To criticize some things makes it more challenging as we are a language teacher in the near future. It makes us more excited upon criticizing some certain facts or that the reasons that we are going to provide another instance of reasons to give to our readers and make it more precise and much more easier to understand by the reader, as from more complex knowledge to a much more easier to understand informations. So next one is the purpose of why we are criticizing or judging some certain context. So this is my purpose. The purpose of literary criticism is to broaden. It means to expand a reader's understanding of an author's work by summarizing, interpreting, and exploring its value. A critic formulates a comprehensive literary analysis that can inform or challenge another reader's understanding of the text. So that's good to know that upon criticizing, we are providing some certain facts to provide more instances for our readers. It's to challenge another readers. So that is my purpose. And lastly, and next, sorry for that, is the importance of criticizing a literary works. So this is my reason why there should be an importance of criticizing, though the reasons that is to provide the another informations about the context. So another thing to that is by reading the critic, you add yet another point of view to yours and the authors. So it add more spices to your readers. When you provide something and when you critique it, they will more add another spices or informations, knowledge to another reader. And lastly, let's go connect literary criticism to linguistic criticism. As we all know, linguistic is the study of that focuses on the linguistic structure of the text. They are both connected to each other because because linguistic criticism is a mode of literary criticism that focuses on the linguistic text. Upon criticizing, the literary text or context, you're going through with it what is within that you are going through, and expand it until you get through the much more precise and specific explanations to rely it to another reader. And to connect it to the ideological perspective, it is a certain idea that you're going to apply to your critic or the product that you are going to provide upon criticizing a certain context. So that's all of my reports. Thank you for listening. The floor is yours for the next reporter. Thank you and God bless.
So at this point, we will interpret a whole poem. This is a sonnet made by Seamus Heaney entitled Clearances.
Fear of affection made her affect. In advocacy, whenever it came to pronouncing words beyond her, Bertold Brecht, she'd manage something hampered and askew. Every time, as if she might betray the hampered and inadequate by too well-adjusted a vocabulary. With more challenge than pride, she'd tell me, "You know all them things." So I governed my tongue in front of her, a genuinely well-adjusted, adequate betrayal of what I knew better. I'd annoy and decently relapse into the wrong grammar, which kept us allied and at bay.
So if we are to look closely in the poem, it is about the relationship between the first person I and the third person she. So who are these persons? We might suppose that the I is the poet himself and the she is the poet's mother. Why and how do we know? It is obvious in the title since it provides the clue there, which it said that the poem is written in the memory of MKH, which it is the initials of the poet's mother, Margaret Kathleen Heaney. If we first read the poem, we might think that it is about the intellectual and emotional rift which has grown between the mother and the son as a result of his superior education, and the consequent conflict between maternal and filial love as well. Hence, we can use it as a literary biography because it discusses about the poet's life and the family background. But what is distinctive about it is that this literature has a conflict that it deals with and not described in referential terms, but it is represented as experience. And this fact creates the literary effect we reach to as readers. So if we go back into the poem, we can obviously feel or see the ambivalent attitude of the poet. That is, the mother and the son adapt considerately to each other, but then they express a kind of betrayal at the same time. Therefore, the expression we get is that affection is competing with exasperation, which is a complete contradiction, right? However, this can be felt in reality. This is the reality of almost everyone. Like the poet, some of us may feel affection to someone, but at the same time, we feel exasperation. This is what we called as love and hate relationship. But let's take a look at another perspective. Observing how the poet used the words such as adequate, hampered, adjust, and betray shows how the poet is struggling to express his feelings. The inconsistency and irregularity of the meter and the clumsiness of the rhyme suggests awkwardness. That's why even Ian Hamilton, a literary critic, also said that this sonnet or this poem is almost breathtakingly ill-made. This comment is, I think, harsh to think that all this rough-hewn language is nevertheless put into the formal poetic design of the sonnet. But so much for the general impression of the literary effect of this poem. The next presenter, Ms. Fernandez, will explain how far a closer analysis of the linguistic texture of the poem can substantiate and extend this impression.